This year, we have been very creative and innovative, had a very creative and innovative idea that has been in the makings for several years. We were finally able to print capital credit checks on demand. Our staff, in working with our software vendor, was able to find a way to print checks for those members that wish to receive checks. However, for those that couldn't make the appreciation days or annual meeting, we continue our practice of putting the credit on the retirement on their electric bill of eligible active members on their October electric billing. Our efficiency showed through because we will save postage and printing on those who receive their capital credit in their bill. Yet the retirement was effective in showing our members what a cooperative membership means to them. As Dick mentioned earlier, we continue to see rates that are increasing. As you can see from the graph, power costs, which comprise about 45% of our total costs, have been escalating. You can see the rapid increase in the 1980s, which was when Basin added many new generation sources, and again the last few years when they added new coal, gas, and wind generation resources. However, as Dick said earlier, they are forecasting that the power costs should level off in the near future. Along with that, our costs continue to increase. We have taken many cost-saving measures, but we have to be careful not to become so efficient that we reduce the reliability and quality of service you have come to expect, which we have set as a priority in our strategic plan. More on power supply of the business. Basin Electric has had an aggressive construction phase to accommodate all the growth among their 135 member systems. The growth of the oil load in the Bakken region of North Dakota has fueled unprecedented growth for them, which is requiring additional infrastructure to meet the growth. Basin expects to invest over $800 million in the next 10 years for new generation and transmission resources. Many questions have been asked about what the impact is on the membership of Basin if we didn't have the Bakken. They recently completed forecasts, and their analysis shows rates would be about 25% higher in the future without these sales. One of the biggest issues being talked about around the Basin table is the possibility of joining regional transmission organizations, or RTOs. RTOs are the fallout from federal orders handed down in the late 1990s opening transmission access. These organizations have sprung up throughout the United States, but predominantly from about this area going east. What has forced Basin's hand is that without joining a neighboring RTO, Basin has limited access to additional generation when needed for growing load. Power supply costs from an RTO right now are cheaper than what Basin can build new generation for. Joining an RTO also would help Basin to supply surplus generation to the outside market on days when Basin has excess generation available. We adopted a 5-year rate strategy last year that we will expect to help guide us in our rate decisions. Over the 5-year plan, we will gradually raise the monthly availability or customer charge while lowering the per kilowatt hour charge. The kilowatt hour charge will also gradually move away from a tiered rate and will become one rate. We have decided to implement this cost shifting from the energy charge to a larger availability or customer charge to cover more of the fixed costs of the business, those being such costs as interest and depreciation to pay for poles and wires, instead of collecting them through your kilowatt hour usage. It helps keep the co-op more financially viable for the future by not having to depend on weather in order to cover those fixed costs. We must, however, try to put our rates in perspective to the value you receive. We recently had a longtime member stop by and drop off a copy of a check for his electric bill from 1941. It was for $3.04 for 1 month's electricity. He said he recalls cabs were bringing about $2 each. So it would take you about a calf and part of another one to pay your power bill for 1 month. Now you still would need about a calf and part of another one to pay your electric bill, but it would be for a year's worth of usage. Now think about how lives have changed with electricity since 1941.
We have completed several projects this past year. One of the larger projects was the completion of the reconstruction of the Rapid Valley sub. Here to tell us about what that project entailed is Mike Fletcher, our Manager of Operations.
My name is Mike Fletcher. I'm the Operations Manager here at West River Electric. So we have just completed a year-long rebuild of the Rapid Valley substation at a cost of $1.8 million. The old Rapid Valley substation consisted of a 10 MVA transformer feeding 5 circuits and sitting in a 4,000 square foot yard. This substation was quickly reaching its capacity due to continued growth in the Rapid Valley area. The rebuilt substation actually consists of 2 mirror image substations sitting on a 54,000 square foot yard. There are 2 10 MVA transformers feeding 8 circuits with the ability to add more. Work on the north half of the sub was completed while the old sub remained operational. After the north half was completed and testing assured us that everything was working as required, we shifted the load 1 circuit at a time from the old sub to the new. Once that was completed, the old sub was removed and the south half of the new sub was completed. This upgrade should provide reliable service to ever-growing Rapid Valley area well into the future. As for the old substation, it will continue to serve in a different fashion. West River Electric donated it to Mitchell Technical Institute's new substation technology program to assist in training the line personnel of the future.
As you can see, we work hard to make sure we are ahead of the curve on our ever-growing members' needs. We also completed a major line rebuild from the Box Elder substation to the Antelope Ridge housing development I mentioned earlier. With our growth over the last number of years, our staff wondered, how can we be more efficient while still being effective in our billing process? After months of discussion, we decided to run our billing process on multiple cycles per month during 2012. To tell us a little bit about the process and why we've switched is Tammy Crown, our billing supervisor.
This past summer, West River Electric switched to cycle billing so we can become more efficient and try to level out our workload. With our growth the last 10 years, we couldn't continue to do the billing the way we always have. Every month, our reads were downloaded and a bill calculation was run. The error checking report was over 1,000 pages long. The CSRs meticulously checked for readings that might look incorrect for high or low usage. They initiated paperwork and sent technicians to the location and verified readings. Now, with cycle billing, we have the same workload, but it is split into 4 bill cycles. Payments and bill calculations for the different cycles are not all due at the same time. This allows the CSRs to manage their workload more evenly and efficiently.